What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we go over the Michigan football spring game, blue versus maize, how it went, play by play, and also some early takeaways from the spring game, and also what Sherrone Moore had to say as well. But let's go ahead and get right into it here. And first, we'll say that the blue team did beat the maize 17-0. Bryce Underwood led the blue team on offense, while Jadyn Davis led the maize team on offense. And both quarterbacks had their moments. Bryce Underwood, he went 12 for 27, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, and he did have a 88-yard flea flicker to Jalen Hoffman. That was the final play of the game that put the cherry on top. And my first impressions of Bryce Underwood, you can see the talent out there. He did have some mistakes, though, as a true freshman, will have. He got sacked 3 times, had 2 delay of games early in the game, and also had 1 interception where it was just, miscommunication. It was also a 3rd and long on that play. He was just trying to, make a play. And then Jadyn Davis, on the other hand, he went 6 for 16, 74 yards. He got sacked 4 times and got picked off twice by Jeremiah Lowe, as he had a great game today with 2 interceptions. So, at times it wasn't always easy on the eyes, but there was some good things to take away. And obviously, Michigan defense is legit here. They put it on display, especially the defense for the blue team, pitching a shutout today, even though the maize team probably should have at least got a field goal, as they did miss a field goal when they were in field goal range. But the very first drive of the game was led by the blue team and Bryce Underwood, and from their own 25-yard line. And right away, Bryce Underwood got sacked by Rayshawn Benny. So that was the very first play of the spring game. Rayshawn Benny getting a sack on Bryce Underwood. They obviously didn't tackle the quarterbacks, and then they just went 3 and out from there. And then for the first drive for the maize team, Jordan Marshall had a few runs, but then he got stopped on a 4th and 1 as he was stopped short by Jordan Young for a turnover on downs. And then the second drive for the blue team, it didn't do much. It was 3rd and 8, was a delay of game, pushed him back to 3rd and 13, and then an incomplete pass to Channing Goodwin, and they punted. And then we got to see some action. Jadyn Davis threw it to Donovan McCulley for 25 yards, where the blue jumped offside, so we got to take a shot, and Donovan McCulley went up and got that thing. Got to see his athleticism on display. He is going to be a nice big target for the Michigan quarterbacks this season. Then on a 3rd and 6 on that drive, Davis threw it incomplete to Samaj Morgan on miscommunication, as Davis thought he was going to continue the route, but he didn't. And the next drive for the blue team, this is where Bryce Underwood, got in a rhythm, but it was also led by Justice Haynes, as he bounced outside for a 26-yard run. Justice Haynes went off there in the first quarter. He had, for the time that he played, which he didn't play much, only in the early in the game, as well as Jordan Marshall, but the time he got, he performed very well. And then Bryce Underwood again got in a rhythm, found Channing Goodwin twice, once for a gain of 11 and then another for a gain of 15. Bryce Underwood also found Jalen Hoffman for a nice 3rd down conversion. They did get stopped on 3rd and goal that led to a field goal. However, Underwood did throw a good pass on that drive. However, it was dropped in the end zone. He threw it in tight coverage. It did, hit the receiver's hands, but he just didn't bring it in. So he probably should have had his first touchdown pass right there, but blue team got stopped, led to a field goal. Then on the 3rd drive for the maize team, Dominic Nichols did get a sack, and it was a 3rd and 7 from 38. Jadyn Davis took a deep shot to Samaj Morgan, got a little bit too much air under it, and then it was incomplete. And then they did go for it on 4th and 7, and Davis overthrew Peyton Leary up the sideline. It was a turnover on downs. Then drive 4, we got to see Micah Kapana had a gain of 4 and then a gain of 6 on a couple runs. Bryce Underwood continued to find Jalen Hoffman, found him on numerous occasions for first downs. Then it was a 3rd and 18, and that's when Bryce Underwood threw an interception. Tevis Metcalf picked it off. It was targeted to Channing Goodwin. Just some miscommunication, really. There was really nobody around in the area because Underwood trying to make a play on 3rd and 18. Thought Goodwin was going to, try to go deep, but he didn't. Credit to Tevis Metcalf for, tracking down the ball, picking it off. And then on drive 4 for the Maize, Lugard Edokpe got a sack on Jadyn Davis. Bryce Kuzdale had a run for 12, which he had a pretty dang good game, especially in the second half. Then that was the first half. It was 3-0 blue team. Started out the second half, Jadyn Davis threw an interception to Jeremiah Lowe as he undercut a curl route. It was a very good play. Then drive 5 for the blue from there. 32, Bryce Underwood again found Jalen Hoffman, found him on a 4th and 2, and it was a first down to the 13. It was a very nice pass right there. And then Bryce Underwood had 2 pretty good throws. He had one on 2nd and 9 to Andrew Marsh towards the end zone. It was incomplete, but it was a pass interference called on Tevis Metcalf. Then on 1st and goal from the 2, Bryce Underwood threw a fade to Jamar Browder in the end zone. Good defense by Josiah Edmond, but that was even a still pretty dang good throw by Bryce Underwood. And then Micah Kapana eventually ran it into the end zone to give them a 10-0 lead. Drive 6 for the Maize. Bryson Kuzdale had a few good runs, had a gain of 30 to the 28. Then they eventually kicked a field goal. It was no good. Drive 6 for the Blue was a 3-and-out. Drive 7 for the Maize. Jadyn Davis scrambled, directed traffic, but did overthrow Zach Marshall. He was then sacked by Chibion Wuna. No gain. And then on 3rd and 11, Jadyn Davis had a very nice deep throw to Peyton O'Leary right in the bunny basket, but Peyton O'Leary unfortunately just could not hang on. Shamari Earls was in coverage there, but it was a very nice pass from Jadyn Davis. Should have resulted in a nice gain and a first down to keep the drive going, but they had to punt it. And then drive 7 for the Blue. Bryce Underwood threw to Andrew Marsh with the gain of 12. Andrew Marsh had a nice move on a defender. Then there was a go route up the right sideline to Jamar Browder on 1st and 10. Hit him in the hands, but it was incomplete. It was going to be a tough ball to catch, but Bryce Underwood put it right there for him to get it, and where only he could get it. And then Bryce Underwood was sacked by Cole Sullivan, but on 3rd and 12, Bryce Underwood found Jalen Hoffman again for a gain of 14. And then Bryce Underwood did have a wide open Channing Goodwin in the end zone, was really open, but he did overthrow him 60 plus yards in the air though. But man, he had him open, could have got it in there. And then on 3rd and 11 though, in that same drive, Bryce Underwood did scramble, showing his legs with a gain of 17. And then ultimately it led to a field goal attempt though. Field goal was no good. Drive 8 for the Maize. Jadyn Davis found Logan Forbes once for a gain of 10 and another time for a gain of 20. Then on 4th and 12, Jadyn Davis scrambled, was given the first down, and then he got sacked on 1st and 10. And on 3rd and 7, Jadyn Davis, his pass was intercepted again by Jeremiah Lowe. Then drive 8 again was the end of the game, but Bryce Underwood threw a 88-yard touchdown flea flicker on the final play of the game, and the Blue beat the Maize 17-0. So for those of you who didn't watch the game, hopefully that helped a little bit. But as far as some takeaways from this game, let's first start with Bryce Underwood. There is, some to like. You can see the talent on display, but it's still a work in progress. He's a true freshman. He had some mistakes, including 2 delay of games, an interception on, a miscommunication, and a couple missed connections on some deep balls, but he still had some nice throws in there, and obviously has plenty of time to iron things out. Jadyn Davis, same thing, showed flashes, but he also had some passes that were way off target as well. But both quarterbacks did show some good awareness, escaping the pocket when under pressure. This Michigan defense is one of the best. They showed it again in the spring game, and Michigan offensive line is still looking like it's a work in progress. But again, this Michigan defensive line, one of the best, and they showed up again in this spring game. Rashawn Benny delivered a sack early in the game. Dominic Nichols delivered a sack. Lugard Edokpe. Cole Sullivan was able to get a sack. Obviously, he's a linebacker, but they showed up, and I believe Michigan had a total of 7 sacks in this game. I believe 3 by the maize and 4 by the blue team. And also Justice Haynes, he looked very good. Carried the ball for 6 times for 63 yards, including that big run where he bounced out to the outside. He's looking very good, and you know, I know a lot of people, including myself, love Jordan Marshall, but right now I would say that Justice Haynes looks to be running back 1, but Jordan Marshall is going to get his touches as well. We all know that they're both going to get their touches, but Justice Haynes, he looked very, very good in the spring game for the amount that he was in there. As far as Bryson Cousdale, he made a nice pitch for himself in the spring game to potentially compete for running back 3. He had some very nice carries, and he was the game's leading rusher. Obviously got a lot more touches than you know, some backs, but he showed out in a good way in the spring game. Micah Capana also had some flashes as well, and you know, both of them really got the heavy load of the carries in the second half. So let me know your guys' takeaways from the spring game if you were there. And then speaking on what Sherrone Moore said post game on the blue team and their victory, he said, I thought overall as a team they played well. Couple penalties that we got to clean up on both sides, but all in all, I just wanted to see everybody have fun, injury-free football game, and that's what we got accomplished. And on Bryce Underwood, he said he did well, made some really good throws, had some things that we got to clean up and get better at, but he's a continued work in progress, and he's working his tail off to do it. You know, same thing on Jadyn Davis. He said both of them great kids, great character kids, and it's a battle that's going to go all the way into fall camp. And then on the tight end / fullback, Jalen Hoffman, who could potentially be MVP for this game, he had an outstanding game. You know, Sherrone Moore said Jalen has really picked up his game, and he's really changed his body, done different things, and a guy we definitely look forward to watching in the season. On the Michigan offensive line, he said, I think the biggest piece is that they get challenged by that defensive line every day, and I think our D-line is going to be really deep. And it's always different in the spring games because everybody's split up and different combinations of people, and they're, you know, ones playing with twos and twos playing with ones, so you don't really get caught up in that, but you know, I've seen them progress. He also talked about the depth players on Michigan defense who have stood out. He said I could be here for a while talking about that. I mean, you just talk about the whole defensive line. I feel like there's 10 guys that can play, and you know, it's just a group of guys who that have been really fun to watch them evaluate, push each other, and you know, in the back end, it's a slew of guys as well. That's a little bit of what Sherrone Moore said after the spring game. And with that, that's gonna wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it, and we see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.